Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Naruto. Tsunade is so fired up, I have an emotional system. Chapter 61. Do you know how much damage you will cause to Konoha in the future just because you are soft-hearted at this moment? How many companions will die because of this? In the system space. The expressions of a group of undead became extremely exciting. Ding. Hatake Tsukumo has a strong feeling of contempt and is rewarded, lightning release and lightning slash. Ding. Namikaze Minato produces a strong, speechless, emotion, reward, chakra perception Namikaze Minato version. System prompt. It is detected that the host has previously unlocked chakra sensing Senju Tobarama edition and is rewarded with a fusion upgrade. Chakra perception sensitivity plus 30%. Hatake Tsukumo said angrily, "Hey, kid. You clearly let Uchiha Obito run away, right? Why do you have the nerve to let Kakashi take the blame?" Uchiha replied plausibly, "No, sir. As a multifaceted spy, isn't it a basic quality to pass the blame? Besides, letting Uchiha Obito run away, even if I have 90% of the responsibility, doesn't Captain Kakashi have 1% of the responsibility? If he hadn't stopped using the last Reikiri, at least Uchiha Obito would have been injured. What's more, as the captain, if the mission fails, you should take responsibility." Listening to his many lies, everyone's expressions became more and more exciting. Senju Hashirama asked in disbelief, "Kakashi has always been very good to you, right? Wouldn't it hurt your heart if you let him take the blame?" "Hi." Uchiha shrugged indifferently. "Why does it hurt? He still has to thank me." Outside world. Facing Uchiha's questioning, Hatake Kakashi lowered his head in shame. He also knew that he had definitely made an unforgivable mistake just now. "I'm ashamed of my teacher, I'm ashamed of Lin, I'm ashamed of the village, but after all, we are former companions, I really..." "Well," Uchiha sighed and patted his shoulder gently. Then he said very understandingly, "Understand. I understand. Captain Kakashi is an emotional person. Actually, if it were me, I'm afraid I wouldn't have the heart to kill him. Just pretend this never happened, and I won't say anything to the third Hokage. Let's just say that Uchiha Obito's time and space technique is too weird, and we couldn't." "No." Hatake Kakashi shook his head and said firmly. "Flo, thank you for thinking about me. However, I will definitely admit what I did. I will personally go to the Hokage-sama to apologize." In the system space. Pretty. Chinsho Phagian couldn't help complaining. This time, the blame has been completely taken. Gone. He actually expressed his gratitude. Senju Hashirama couldn't help but cover his face with his hands. Why does this kid seem to be more innocent than me? Ding. Senju Hashirama has a strong, speechless, emotion, reward, chakra recovery speed too. Hatake Tsukumo and Namikaze Minato looked at each other, and both saw the helplessness in each other's eyes. My poor son, disciple. So tender. Outside world. Faced with such an upright Kakashi. On the surface, Uchiha said with some reluctance, "It's not necessary. I'm really happy from the bottom of my heart. Are there any players in this world who take the initiative to take over the blame? It's really good." Hatake Kakashi shook his head, his tone extremely firm. "Don't worry, Lu. The third Hokage will understand me. Also, regarding Uchiha Obito, I will definitely get to the bottom of it. One day, sooner or later, I will bring it back to Konoha." Uchiha nodded solemnly. "Don't worry, Captain Kakashi. Obito is also a member of my tribe. I will definitely help you." "Good." Kakashi Hatake patted Uchiha on the shoulder heavily, his eyes full of approval. Uchiha asked, "Then let's go report to the Hokage-sama now." Before that, Kakashi Hatake's eyes narrowed slightly, and a trace of recollection surged on his face. "I want to go to the memorial monument first." "Clear." Uchiha nodded and said eagerly. "I will go with you. Two of you, hurry up. Quick, faster," Kakashi said with some confusion. "What's faster?" "Dig a grave," Uchiha said matter-of-factly. Captain Kakashi, when you said you went to the memorial monument, wasn't it to dig Obito Uchiha's grave?" Senju Hashirama. "No, kid, who taught you to think like this?" Senju Tobarama. He is indeed an evil brat of the Uchiha clan, his thoughts are always different from ordinary people. Hitaki Tsukumo. I think, that's probably not what Kakashi meant, really. When Hitaki Kakashi heard this, the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. That doesn't have to be the case. You guy, don't always have such weird thoughts. I went to the memorial monument because I wanted to see another teammate. That's it, Nohara Rin. Oh, Uchiha looked like he suddenly understood. It's okay, then I'll go with you and just wait for you outside. Hitaki Kakashi nodded slightly. He looked around the battlefield again. Then, he disappeared in a flash and headed towards the memorial monument. Uchiha followed immediately. On the other side, Black Zetsu and the band again Uchiha reunited with each other. In order not to be embarrassed in front of Black Zetsu, Uchiha Obito proudly told Black Zetsu how witty he was. To read Baoshuang novels, go to Phailu Novel Network. Carding his old teammate Hitaki Kakashi played with him. Moreover, he unknowingly accepted Kakashi's subordinates as his own. For the first half, Black Zetsu completely thought he was farting. After all, Uchiha Madara's vest has fallen off. How can you still manipulate others into the palm of your hand? Isn't this a waste of money? However, Black Zetsu was quite surprised by the final, successful recruitment of Uchiha. He said with some disbelief, Obito, I'm thinking. That kid, could he be fooling you? Probably not. Uchiha Obito shook his head. Otherwise, he would have no reason to let me go. Makes sense. Heiju nodded. However, you still have to be more careful with him. This kid, I can't see through him. Do not worry. Uchiha Obito waved his hand proudly. I'm not a child. How could you not be on guard against him? Moreover, that brat named Uchiha is quite interesting. He said he left me a gift, which is in my divine space. Let's go and see it together. Gift. Heiju was a little confused. Then, let's see. Uchiha Obito activated his divine power again, absorbing both of them into the divine power space. Black Zetsu's eyes narrowed slightly. The ranking technique, Senju Hashirama's technique. Now that no one is in control, I should be able to unlock it. As he spoke, he put his hands on the wooden stakes. Uchiha Obito's eyes widened and he waited with interest to receive the gift. Soon, the buttons of the ranking no jutsu were suddenly untied. At the same time, a strong stench hit his face. Heiju looked at the big baby inside, and the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. Is this his gift to you? A lump, grass. Uchiha Obito's face was as dark as the bottom of a pot. He just said that he would definitely be on guard against Uchiha style. In the blink of an eye, he was attacked. It was like a slap in the face. Ding! Uchiha Obito has a strong, angry, emotion, and the reward is, Izanagi Uchiha Obito version. System prompt. It is detected that the host has previously unlocked Izanagi Shimura Danzo edition and is rewarded with a fusion upgrade. Izanagi duration plus 30%. Uchiha Obito's big hand clenched suddenly. This kid, one day, sooner or later, I will kill him with my own hands. Wrong. I'm going to see him now. Absolutely. Where is that fool now? Heiju shrugged. It should be. Are you going to the memorial monument? Snort. Uchiha Obito snorted coldly, and his figure disappeared instantly. Outside the Konoha Memorial Monument. Tombs lie here quietly. Most of them contain the corpses of heroes who sacrificed for Konoha. Of course, there are also alternative ones. For example, the clothes of a half-blackened idiot. At this time, Hitaki Kakashi was standing in front of Nohara Rin's grave, constantly telling something. Uchiha sat outside boredly, resting against the big tree. Suddenly, a space vortex spread out behind him. The corners of Uchiha's mouth raised slightly, not surprised. You came. I am coming. You shouldn't have come. In the system space, a group of undead have black lines hanging from their faces. What kind of weird connection code is this? Uchiha continued. This place is too close to Kakashi, it is easy for him to find it. Snort. Uchiha Obito sneered. He is nothing but a useless piece of trash. No need to pay attention. Let's talk about why you fool pooped in my divine space. Do you think this is fun? The corners of Uchiha's mouth raised slightly. It seems that you have received the gift I gave you. Not because it's fun, but I want to tell you. Speaking of this, Uchiha's expression suddenly became solemn. I can do whatever I want with your place. I can join your organization, but don't think you are above me. Do you understand, kid? Uchiha Obito's face suddenly sank. Do you know who you are talking to? Do you think I really don't dare to kill you? Ah, Uchiha sneered. It doesn't seem like it's a question of whether you dare or not. It's a question of whether you can. Uchiha Obito was suffocated suddenly, and his face became extremely ugly. Uchiha looked up and saw Kakashi, who was constantly talking about past friendship. Looking back at Kakashi hidden in the shadows, he was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Uchiha Obito suddenly grinned. What card is currently committed? It's okay. Seeing that Uchiha Obito was on the verge of going berserk, Uchiha comforted him casually. Don't be quick to fight and kill. What you should do now, isn't it to tell me the origin of your organization and its most important purpose? Snort. Uchiha Obito snorted coldly and introduced reluctantly. The organization is called Shao. It is an organization established specifically to achieve peace. Uchiha glanced at him sideways. So, how to achieve peace? Like you, creating terrorist incidents everywhere. Shut up, kid, Uchiha Obito retorted angrily. That's just some advance preparation. To achieve true peace, the goal is to collect all the tailed beasts and build them into the most terrifying war weapon in the world. When Uchiha heard this, his eyes suddenly lit up. Then destroy the world and kill everyone on the left and right. Then there will be no more wars in the world, I understand. Idiot, Uchiha Obito spat in anger. Kid, the method you mentioned is too vulgar. Don't always think of killing people to solve problems. Our ultimate goal is to use this most terrifying weapon of war as a deterrent. Let no one dare to start another war. P.S. Actually, this is Nagato's route. Obito's route is the infinite Tsukuyomi. He was on guard against the protagonist at this time, so he did not tell the whole story. In the system space, a group of undead, listening to Uchiha Obito's great plan, everyone was shocked. A flash of light flashed in Namikaze Minato's eyes. It seems that Lu made the right choice to break into the opponent's organization. Otherwise, how could we know this secret? Moreover, if this is the plan, Obito and Naruto must stand on opposite sides. Senju Hashirama frowned. Do you actually want to achieve peace through this method? It sounds feasible, but that would put the entire ninja world under high pressure. Kionju Tojian sneered. Such an extreme idea. This kid is absolutely crazy. Not to mention whether it is high pressure or not. Even if the so-called ultimate weapon is actually built, it intimidated the entire ninja world and prevented others from starting another war. But this weapon itself is the biggest source of trouble, right? Such a terrifying weapon is in the hands of Uchiha Obito. With this kid's extreme thoughts, maybe one day he will really destroy the ninja world, right? Senju Tobarama's words immediately won the approval of others. The outside world. After Uchiha Obito introduced his great plan, he proudly showed off to Uchiha. How about it, imp? This plan of mine. Is it much more advanced than the plan you proposed before to exterminate other ninja villages and unify Konoha? That's about it. Uchiha curled his lips. Snort. Uchiha Obito was a little dissatisfied with his attitude. He continued to give instructions. Don't be dissatisfied. Your plan actually has a lot of problems. First, many people are going to die. Secondly, and most importantly, do you really think that if Konoha is unified, strife can be avoided? How are the current high-level officials of Konoha and the Uchiha clan? You know it. Human greed is endless. Even if they are unified, there will still be all kinds of intrigues and infighting, and one day they may be divided again. It's not a long-term solution at all. Senju Hashirama. I see, that makes sense. Senju Tobarama. Ha, Uchiha Obito, this lunatic, understands this point quite well. Uchiha spread his hands and suddenly said in an astonishing voice. I also know that simply unifying Konoha cannot bring peace at all. It was because I said that in front of Kakashi before. After all, I have to show that ridiculous will of fire in front of him all the time. In fact, my real plan is much more advanced than this. Oh, Uchiha Obito raised his eyebrows. He said with some interest, tell me. Uchiha shrugged and said lightly. It's okay to tell you. In fact, what I really think is exterminate all men in the entire ninja world. The corners of Uchiha Obito's mouth twitched slightly. Then what? Then, Uchiha looked confused. There is no more. That woman, what about women? Woman, Uchiha's expression was a little strange. Of course all the women should stay. In this way, I am the only man in the world, and I can live a shameless life with women. No, live a happy life. No more disputes from now on. To read cool novels, go to Philo Novel Network. Where is the system space? After hearing Uchiha's big plan, everyone's expressions immediately became extremely exciting. It is also very rare to trigger 8 rewards at the same time. Ding! Hatake Tsukumo has a strong contempt emotion, and he is rewarded with dagger usage skills Hatake Tsukumo version. Ding! Namikaze Minato has a strong speechless emotion, and the reward is psychic technique. Ding! Uchiha Izuna has a strong contempt emotion, and the reward is combat experience Uchiha Izuna version. Ding! Uchiha Madara has a strong contempt emotion, and the reward is Yasaka Chong Magatama. Ding! Senju Tobijian has a strong contempt emotion, and the reward is the power of the water escape technique plus 2-0. Ding! Senju Hashirama has a strong contempt emotion, and the reward is plus 1-0 power of wood escape technique. Really, Uchiha Madara, who had rarely spoken, had a slight twitch at the corner of his mouth. Gritting his teeth, he complained. What a wonderful plan. Chinsho Phagian also sneered. The evil brat of the Uchiha family. Really, I already knew it. Your thoughts are more dangerous and extreme than Uchiha Obito. Senju Hashirama couldn't help but cover his face with his hands and muttered. Now I gradually believe what Tobirama said. You Uchiha clan members think a little differently from ordinary people. Ding! Uchiha Obito has a strong contempt emotion, and the reward is the tail-removing seal. Outside world, Uchiha Obito stumbled on his feet. Have to say, after coming into contact with the Uchiha style, he had been shocked many times. But there is probably no other time that can compare to this one. Fortunately, he thought that Uchiha was a pacifist like him. She was also very interested in discussing any peaceful plans with him. Now it seems. Pooh, I said, kid, are you doing that for peace in the ninja world? You are clearly greedy for women's bodies, you are despicable. Uchiha Ryu was not angry after being sprayed. He just looked at Uchiha Obito a little strangely and complained. It seems like you don't have any position to speak to me, right? After all, isn't it because of a woman that you are on this path today? So, isn't everyone doing this for women? How noble are you? When Uchiha Obito heard this, he suddenly choked. Have to say, there is some truth in what Uchiha said, but this is simply vulgarizing my feelings for Lin. What an insult to Lin. Think of this, Uchiha Obito argued angrily. Nonsense. My true love for Lin is unforgettable. And you are just a perverted brat. Whatever you think. Uchiha shrugged, looking indifferent. What bad thoughts could he have? He just wanted to give Tsunade, Terumi Mei, Kuretsuchi, Samui, and Hinata, these poor and helpless weak women, a warm home. Is this still a crime? Never mind. Uchiha Obito forced himself to calm down. It makes no sense to say this. Now let's talk about it. When did you defect to Konoha and join the Akatsuki organization with me? Uchiha showed doubts on his face. When did you say you were going to defect to Konoha? The confused look on his face is something that Uchiha Obito wouldn't even be able to fix. No, how can you join the Akatsuki organization if you don't defect to Konoha? Uchiha Lu spread his hands and said solemnly. Just join, why do you have to defect to Konoha? Being in Konoha, my heart is with the Akatsuki organization. Is there any conflict between the two? The corners of Uchiha Obito's mouth twitched slightly. He stared at Uchiha Lu with some surprise. Kid, you seem to be working on a very new method of joining the factory. You seem to be working on a very new way of joining. However, this method does not meet my expectations. Uchiha Obito narrowed his eyes slightly and said in a deep voice. As far as I know, you are not loyal to Konoha at all, right? Why don't you come with me? Why? Uchiha Lu immediately retorted. Don't talk nonsense. This is naked slander. I am loyal to every superior I have. For example, the third Hokage, Danzo Shimura, and Captain Kakashi. The corners of Uchiha Obito's mouth twitched slightly. He felt that his blood pressure was rising. If it weren't for fear of being discovered by Kakashi not far away. He really wanted to grab the fool kid in front of him by the collar and scold him loudly. Are you loyal to NMLGB? Do you believe this nonsense? Uchiha grinned and continued. In fact, you don't have to worry about these things. Think about it differently. Let me stay in Konoha and be an undercover agent for you, isn't it? 413, good. This way you can always know Konoha's information. Uchiha Obito curled his lips. With the existence of white Zetsu, it is very useful to spy on intelligence. Therefore, he is not interested in this so-called undercover. Uchiha Lu saw that the new boss was absent-minded. He continued to paint. Said, don't underestimate me as a gold medal undercover agent. Think about it, now your identity has been exposed. It was even revealed that you were the murderer of the nine-tailed knight that year. Konoha will definitely use all its power to trace your whereabouts. And I have the dual identities of Anbu and Rude at the same time, and I am highly trusted by both parties. There is a high probability of participating in the hunt for you. I can inform you secretly at any time. Allows you to keep track of the movements of Konoha's top brass and the tracking team's movements. It can even help you deliver false news to the higher-ups in Konoha. By that time, what do you want Konoha to know so that they can know? What you don't want Konoha to know, they will never know. When Uchiha Obito heard this, his eyes suddenly lit up. This is indeed, sounds good. Although he thought he was hiding very well, he didn't think Konoha could cause him much trouble. However, it's good to have it just in case. After all, there is that idiot Kakashi. Although that guy is a waste, he will definitely stick to him. It should be nice to have this brat holding him back, and from time to time, he would pass some false news to Konoha, and he might be able to manipulate the top management of Konoha for his own use. After all, it is the strongest village. If used properly, it will be a big help. Thinking of this, Uchiha Obito's expression suddenly looked much better. Uchiha was addicted to painting cakes and continued to talk. And, you don't know yet, right? The third-generation old man thinks highly of me and has promised me the position of Hokage in the future. So, in the future, you might have a Hokage as your undercover agent in Konoha. How about it? Doesn't it sound very exciting? In the system space. All the undead were dumbfounded. Not only is it exciting, it's simply outrageous. Senju. Hashirama's face darkened. Kid, do you want to listen to what you are saying? Namikaze Minato couldn't help but complain. Lu. Although I know you are trying to gain Obito's trust as soon as possible. But you, the drama may have gone a bit too far. Uchiha Madara's mouth twitched slightly. If this script can be successful in the future, I would like to call it the best undercover plan. Outside world. Uchiha Obito's face darkened, and he glared at Uchiha Lu angrily. Kid, you can say this. I have to believe you that I am the one. You kid, you are too naive. Did you really believe in the paintings of a third-generation old man? You are an Uchiha, but you still want to be Hokage. Go ahead and dream your dream. However, after Uchiha Lu said this, Uchiha Obito suddenly woke up. Sneered. Stop talking nonsense, kid. I see. The reason why you are unwilling to defect to Konoha is because you will still have the opportunity to become Hokage in the future. So, you want to bet on both Konoha and Akatsuki organizations at the same time, right? Uchiha grinned. It's not like hedging his bets. Just in case your plan doesn't work. To read exciting novels, go to Philo Novel Network. I'm going to implement my plan, do you understand? See how honest I am. Enough. Uchiha Obito waved his hand angrily. Stop talking about your bullshit plan. Uchiha shrugged cheerfully. Okay, don't be so manic. Anyway, we are allies now. How could you find such a great helper like me? You should be happy, right? The corners of Uchiha Obito's mouth twitched slightly. I'm so happy. I came to Konoha with the intention of taking you as a pawn. As a result, now, you, the chess piece, have more ideas than me, the chess player. However, Uchiha Obito had no good solution at this time. Uchiha Madara's vest has fallen off and he can no longer use his name to scare people. With my own strength, I can't control this guy. He could only comfort himself in his heart and said, it doesn't matter. At the very least, this kid won't be an obstacle to the plan. Moreover, it can be used by me from time to time. Thinking of this, Uchiha Obito's face looked better. Uchiha glanced at him with a half smile but not a smile. It seems that you have some doubts about my loyalty. Don't worry, I am very loyal to the organization. Even if I'm in Konoha, I can still help you capture tailed beasts and so on. If you are really worried, Zero, I can submit a letter of nomination now. For example, help you get rid of the troublesome Kakashi Hatake. Or, help you catch Uzumaki Naruto and extract the 9 tails from his body. How about it? Sincere enough, right? Uchiha Obito's face darkened. To be honest, he was not sure whether what Uchiha said was true or false. But, why does this fool keep holding on to Kakashi and Naruto? Thinking of this, Suchi glared at Uchiha Ryu fiercely. He said in a deep voice, Kid, aren't you going to be an undercover agent in Konoha? If you create such a terrorist incident, aren't you afraid of being exposed? How could be? Uchiha grinned. Even if I do, it's impossible for anyone to doubt me. I will only put the blame on you. Ding. Uchiha Obito has a strong, angry, emotion, and the reward is Taijutsu Uchiha Obito version. Grass. Uchiha Obito's face turned red. It took a long time to hold back a curse word. Uchiha continued, don't worry, my lovely ally, you don't need to worry about me. Thanks to you, because I was the first to discover your traces, and I was also the one who held you back, ultimately exposing your identity. Therefore, my trust in Konoha will definitely be improved to the next level. There is no need to worry about being exposed. Uchiha Obito's face turned completely dark when he heard this. Who the hell is worried about whether you, the fool, will be exposed? You'd better be exposed as soon as possible. I came to Konoha originally to take advantage of you. But it turns out, unexpectedly, I was taken advantage of by you first, and gained a lot of credit among the top management of Konoha. Uchiha tilted his head and asked, so, is there really no need for me to submit a petition? Not required. Uchiha Obito growled angrily. No need to attack that idiot Kakashi. Don't even have any thoughts about the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. In our plan, the 9 tails must be saved until the end to capture it, and it is also the most important. Your current mission is to lurk in Konoha. Don't act rashly. Everything, waiting for my order. Understand? Clear. Uchiha nodded. However, should you tell me where your base camp is? After all, I will definitely be involved in tracing you in the future. It would be bad if I really rushed to your home nest. You tell me the location of the lair, and I can deliberately induce Kakashi to avoid that location. It would be bad if I really rushed to your home nest. You tell me the location of the lair, and I can deliberately induce Kakashi to avoid that location. Uchiha Obito glanced sideways at Uchiha Lu. He was a little surprised and confused. This fool, after all, you are really worried about me. Still want to spy on Konoha and destroy my lair in one fell swoop. The more Uchiha Obito thought about it, the more he felt it was possible. After all, this kid is very treacherous. But maybe we can use him in turn. Now, my identity is exposed. Nagato and the others will definitely have strange thoughts about me. Maybe he will even plot to escape from my control. At such a time, I will lure the people from Konoha over and create some trouble for them. That way, with a common enemy outside, they would continue to rally around me. Thinking of this, Uchiha Obito felt that his mind had opened up. He immediately said, oh wait, this is easy to handle. You just need to find a way as much as possible to lure Kakashi and other Konoha ninjas to the Rain Ninja Village. You'll learn something there soon. The abacus in Uchiha Obito's heart clicked. The real base camp that belongs to him is the isolated Kurigakure village overseas. If he didn't say it, who would have thought of it? Let Konoha go play with Nagato and the others. Go ahead. I'm so smart. Faced with Uchiha Obito's instructions, Uchiha Lu naturally agreed. Rain Ninja Village. No problem. On the other side, Kakashi Hatake stood in front of Nohara Rin's grave. He said something with excitement. Lin, many years ago, it was Obito who pulled me back from going astray. Now, it's my time to save him. Moreover, I now have a very reliable companion by my side. His name is Uchiha, and he is from the same clan as Obito. The will of fire in my heart is stronger than anyone else. With his help, don't worry, I will definitely bring Obito back. When the time comes, we will come together to visit your grave. At this time, Kakashi has regained his faith. He also has a new goal in life. At the same time, he has a very good vision for the future. He has no idea. His most trusted subordinate, Uchiha, is working with him to recover that the objects have already colluded together. Even, not far behind him. Don't worry, with me as an undercover agent, Kakashi will never be able to find you in his lifetime. After making a very confident promise, Uchiha slowly stretched out his right hand. So, happy cooperation. I also wish our great plan a complete success. Uchiha Obito was stunned at first. Then he laughed in his heart. Kid, you think too highly of yourself. You are just my pawn. But he remained calm on his face and extended his hand as well. No one knows. Just as the two shook hands, the gears of fate of the entire ninja world began to turn. That being the case, Uchiha Obito took back his hand. Then I'll leave first. Keep in touch. With that said, he stepped back into the ripples of time and space. Uchiha looked at his leaving figure with a sneer on his lips. Smart aleck Kenji, how could such a reliable ally like me still do this? Since you don't trust me and don't tell me your true hiding place, then I will guide Kakashi to your lair. At this moment, Hatake Kakashi finally finished talking and came over. Seeing that Uchiha seemed to be in a trance, he asked curiously, "What are you thinking about? Are you still thinking about Uchiha Obito? To read exciting novels, go to Philo Novel Network." Yes, Uchiha took the topic very naturally. I wonder where he might be lurking after being missing for so many years. Kakashi smiled bitterly. I was thinking about this problem just now, but I didn't have a clue yet. Uchiha tilted his head and analyzed. If it were me, I don't want others to discover me, and at the same time I'm brewing a big plan to destroy the ninja world. Then he will definitely choose a place that is almost isolated from the world as his base camp. Kakashi Hatake heard this and nodded in agreement. Uchiha continued to mutter, "Where is the appropriate place? I once saw a map of the ninja world. It seems that there is a country that has always been isolated overseas. Hardly interact with others." When Kakashi heard this, his heart was shocked. He turned around suddenly and grabbed Uchiha's shoulders. "You mean, the Kingdom of Water, the Hidden Mist Village?" Although the words are questions, Kakashi already has his own judgment in his heart. That's right, Kurigakure Village. In addition to the geographical location mentioned by Uchiha, there is also a more important reason why Hatake is stuck. Cassie is even more certain. The real murderer who killed Lin was the Kurigakure village. It was those guys who sealed the three tails in Lin's body and tried to let it return to Konoha and cause unrest. These things, even he knows it. Uchiha Obito makes no sense and doesn't know. Now, Obito wants revenge even on Konoha, so there is no reason why he would let Kurigakure go. What's more, Obito now possesses the Mangekyo Sharingan. Even the Kyuubi can be controlled. Maybe he has been lurking in Kurigakure all these years. Even controlling Kurigakure's top brass. The more Kakashi Hatake thought about it, the more likely he felt that this was possible. After all, in recent years, Kurigakure village has become increasingly difficult to understand. The blood mist policy was implemented even more intensely, and even the blood step family was persecuted. It's hard to imagine that this is a decision made by a leader with 753's right mind. And if it is said that it was secretly controlled by Obito, that becomes very reasonable. Right, everything is right. Kakashi Hatake yelled a little uncontrollably. What, right? Uchiha looked confused. Flow. Kakashi Hatake looked at him with excitement. I am now 80% sure. Uchiha Obito, he is lurking in Kurigakure village. Let's go meet the third Hokage now. I will ask his old man for orders to sneak into Kurigakure village and track down Obito's traces. With that said, he disappeared in a flash. Obviously, he no longer asked for orders from the third-generation old man. Only Uchiha was left alone, standing in place messy in the wind. No, is this scamming business so easy to do now? I just started it, and you figured it out on your own. Or should I say, this is the power of Kunlun in the dark. But anyway, my goal was successfully achieved. Uchiha grinned and quickly chased after him. He couldn't help but want to know. What a wonderful expression the smart aleck Uchiha Obito would have on his face when he saw him and Kakashi appear in the Kingdom of Water. There is more important. Terumi Mei, thinking of that stunningly beautiful woman. Uchiha couldn't help but lick his lips. Then, in a flash, he followed Kakashi's footsteps. Not long after, the third-generation old man who had already fallen asleep was forced to turn on his phone by Kakashi. And I quickly learned what happened tonight. Uchiha Obito. Kaleidoscope Sharingan would escape. Kyuubi. Kurigakur. Ding. Sarutobi Hiruzen has a strong shock emotion, and the reward is Fire Release Fire Dragon Flame Bullet. Ding. Sarutobi Hiruzen has a strong shock emotion, and the reward is Thunder Water Dragon Bomb. Ding. Sarutobi Hiruzen has a strong shock emotion, and the reward is the Compound Ninja Technique Earth Dragon Fire Style. This pile, one thing after another, constantly bombarding the heart of this old man. The system beep sounds so loud that it won't stop. It's been a long time. Sarutobi Hiruzen finally recovered from the shock. He smiled and patted Uchiha on the shoulder. I just joined Anbu and have already made such great contributions. You did a great job, kid. You are indeed someone I value. Well, Uchiha looked ashamed. It's a pity that I couldn't keep him. Sarutobi Hiruzen shook his head. This is not your fault. Hitaki Kakashi touched his head heavily to the ground, the third Hokage. This is all my fault. It was at the last moment that I let him go because I couldn't bear it. Moreover, I also have an unshirkable responsibility for why Obito became what he is now. I ask you to allow me to leave Konoha temporarily and track down Obito's whereabouts. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned and kept thinking. Uchiha Obito, as a rebellious ninja of Konoha. He even killed the fourth Hokage. Moreover, he still covets the 9 tails in Uzumaki Naruto. It does need to be investigated. But, Kakashi, of course the whereabouts of Obito Uchiha need to be traced. It's just that now is not the right time. Now Kumo Ninja. However, Hitaki Kakashi has always been very obedient to orders. This time the attitude was quite firm. He couldn't help but kneel down and begged firmly, Hokage-sama. Please forgive me for my recklessness and willfulness. I now know that Obito is alive and has gone astray. There's nothing I can do except find him and bring him back. I think, if Minato-sensei and Lin were still alive, they would also want me to track down Obito's whereabouts immediately. Referring to deceased heroes, especially the fourth Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen must give this face. After pondering for a moment, he slowly said, okay then. Then take Ryu and Tenzo with you. Konoha is very short of manpower right now. I really don't have any more manpower to support you. Thank you Hokage-sama. Hitaki Kakashi was overjoyed immediately. Sarutobi Hiruzen hesitated for a moment, then said, Kakashi. Regardless of Uchiha Obito. As he said this, he gestured to Uchiha with his chin. You must bring this little guy back to me safely. Understand? I see. Hitaki Kakashi nodded immediately. Lord Hokage, I'll take care of Liu. And, you probably don't know yet. This guy's current strength is definitely above mine. Oh, Sarutobi Hiruzen was slightly surprised when he heard this. When he looked at Uchiha Ryu again, his eyes were filled with admiration. Okay, you have worked hard too. Go back and rest. Starting tomorrow, it's time to run around. Immediately, Kakashi Hitaki returned to his home. The Uchiha Ryu went to the roots with ease and met Danzo. Shimura Danzo saw that it was an Uchiha Ryu, and a smile appeared on his old gloomy face. To read exciting novels, go to Philo Novel Network. Why did you come to see me so late? Uchiha said seriously. Danzo-sama. I suspect that there is an undercover agent among the roots. Nani? Shimura Danzo's face suddenly looked bad. Uchiha's expression was solemn, absolutely right. Because, the third Hokage knew about Yamafe's death. At noon today, I was asked about this in person. I can only prevaricate it. That undercover must be found out as soon as possible. Otherwise, my trust in the third Hokage will drop to freezing point. In that case, it would be difficult to find out information for Danzo-sama. Danzo Shimura's face was gloomy, only the root ninja knows about that matter. It seems, sure enough, someone leaked the secret. Okay, very good. Unexpectedly, Shan Feng's death could not deter others. Check. Be sure to check it out. Don't be busy with anything else lately, just focus on checking for me as an undercover agent. The successive undercovers made Danzo Shimura's mood extremely bad. He never thought that the foundation of his life, the roots he is most proud of, would have been penetrated into a sieve long ago. If it weren't for Uchi, I have been kept in the dark about the existence of the Uchiha style. In the system space, a group of undead saw Danzo being fooled by the Uchiha style again, and their expressions suddenly became very exciting. There is indeed an undercover at the root. But, that undercover is the Uchiha style itself. This group of guys is getting more and more skilled at playing with thieves and shouting to catch thieves. The corners of Senju Tobarama's mouth twitched slightly. I have an ominous premonition. Just keep playing like this, brat. Sooner or later, one day, the roots will be destroyed and only 2 people will be left. 2 people. Senju Hashirama blinked his big eyes and showed a very intelligent expression. Which 2 people? Uchiha Madara rolled his eyes. Are you an idiot? Of course it's Shimura Danzo and this brat. Uchiha. Izuna took over the conversation and asked, when the time comes, will Shimura Danzo, a great smart man, say something to Uchiha Ryu? Flo, we are the only 2 left now. I suspect that I am an undercover agent of the 3rd generation. That picture is so beautiful, I can't even imagine it, ha 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 ha. Ding. A strong feeling of indignation arose in Chinshofagian, and the reward was water escape and rush. Senju Tobarama version. Chinsho Tobijian couldn't help but cover his face with his hands. Why does this idiot Danzo doubt everyone but refuses to doubt this evil Uchiha? The root. Facing the mission sent by Shimura Danzo, Uchiha shook his head. Danzo-sama, I may not be able to help you with the undercover investigation for the time being. Right now, I have more important things to do. Something big happened in Konoha tonight. Event. Shimura Danzo curled his lips with some disdain. What's the big deal? What could be bigger than investigating an undercover agent? Uchiha said in surprise. Konoha, a new pair of Mangekyo Sharingan 10 appeared. What did you say? Danzo Shimura stood up immediately after hearing this. His old face with crisscrossed grooves showed a strong greed. What did you say? When Shimura Danzo heard this, he stood up immediately. His old face with ravines showed deep greed. Yes, Danzo-sama, Uchiha said seriously. Just now, Uchiha Obito, who had long been considered dead by Konoha, suddenly appeared in the village. I tried to attack Kyuubi again, but I broke through and started a fierce battle. Shimura Danzo's pupils shrank slightly. He keenly captured several key words. Uchiha Obito. Kyuubi, again. Yes, Uchiha nodded. Again, Uchiha Obito personally admitted that he was responsible for the Nine Tails Rebellion 3 years ago. The 4th Hokage was also killed by him. Shimura Danzo's face was full of shock. 3 years ago. How old was Obito Uchiha 3 years ago? Can actually control the 9 tails. I understand. Mangekyo Sharingan. It must be the Mangekyo Sharingan. Speaking of this, Danzo became more and more excited. What about others? Did you catch it? No, Uchiha said with great regret. Uchiha Obito seems to have mastered some very magical time and space magic. In addition, Hitaki Kakashi relented at the last moment and let him run away. Shimura Danzo cursed with some annoyance. But 863 you just said. A pair of Mangekyo Sharingan. If I remember correctly, Obito Uchiha gave one of his Sharingan eyes to Kakashi Hitaki, right? Yes, Uchiha said seriously, lying as soon as he opened his mouth. Kakashi Hitaki sees his best friend from the past come back to life. I also heard that he killed his teacher. In anger, he also opened the Mangekyo Sharingan. Oh, Shimura Danzo's eyebrows raised slightly. Is it possible to activate the Mangekyo Sharingan without having the blood of the Uchiha clan? Hitaki Kakashi. It's really not simple. Uchiha Lu continued to report. After that, Hitaki Kakashi asked the 3rd Hokage for help and left the village to track down the whereabouts of Uchiha Obito. There's me, and the rebellious guy who's now called Tenzo. Oh, Danzo Shimura suddenly became happy when he heard this. His eyes narrowed slightly and his fingers kept tapping on the table. Over the years, through collusion with Orochimaru, he has completely recognized the Uchiha family's Sharingan value. What's more, now, what is in front of him is the Mangekyo Sharingan, which is more advanced than the ordinary Sharingan. Back then, Uchiha Madara relied on this thing to compete with the first Hokage. If he had, thinking of this, Shimura Danzo's breathing became heavier. I immediately made up my mind. This pair of Mangekyo Sharingan must be in my hands. After making up his mind, he immediately said solemnly, "Child, you were right, this matter is indeed more important than tracing the root of the undercover. I will give you an unprecedented task now. Although it is difficult, I believe that if it is you, you will definitely be able to do it." Looking at Danzo Shimura's face that already looked a little crazy, Uchiha knew it. He was probably going to give himself another wave of rewards. He immediately promised with excitement, "It is my honor to serve Danzo-sama. Fight to the death to complete the mission. Just give your orders." Good. Shimura Danzo was quite satisfied with his attitude. "You are indeed someone I value. Flo, come back and see me with those Mangekyo Sharingan." To read exciting novels, go to Philo Novel Network. Uchiha showed doubts on his face. "What do you mean?" Shimura Danzo said solemnly. "Obito Uchiha manipulated the Nine Tails to destroy Konoha, and even killed the fourth Hokage. This is a heinous crime. Find him and kill him. Bring back that Mangekyo Sharingan." Uchiha nodded slightly, not surprised by this answer. He continued to ask, "Then, what about the other one?" Ayaj. Danzo Shimura snorted coldly. "Another, Hitaki Kakashi. Since I can activate the Mangekyo Sharingan with my own power, that means that deep down in his heart, he has richer emotions than most people. It's best to take advantage of people like this. You should have read the dossier about Hitaki Sakumo, right? Seen it already." Uchiha nodded. Shimura Danzo showed an extremely sinister smile. "You reveal the whole story to him. However, I have to replace my role with the third Hokage. In this way, maybe Kakashi will become resentful of the monkey and come under my command. Of course, if this plan doesn't work, can't get it to the root, then just be kind and send him to meet his stupid father. Then, get back his Mangekyo Sharingan too." In the system space, the eyes of the undead suddenly widened. Ding! Hitaki Sakumo has a strong, angry, emotion, and the reward is the secret technique of stealth. Ding! Namikaze Minato has a strong, angry, emotion, and the reward is Otama Rasengan. Ding! Senju Hashirama has a strong, angry, emotion, and the reward is Total Chakra 3. Ding! There is a strong, angry, emotion in Kionju Tobijian, reward, Water Escape Technique Power plus 10%. Hitaki Sakumo gritted his teeth and said, "Shimura Danzo, this fool. Even if you frame me, you still want to attack my son." Namikaze Minato frowned. "You actually want to blame that incident on the third Hokage. This is too insidious." Senju Hashirama was so angry that he hammered the ground. "Tobirama. Look at the good disciple you taught." Kionju Tobirama's face also became very ugly. "Danzo, that fool. How dare he attack his companions in the village again and again." Outside, Uchiha was very considerate and found a perfect reason for his boss. 2. Kakashi Hitaki deserves to die. After all, letting the rebellious ninja Uchiha Obito go without authorization is a very hateful crime. Then, he added very politely, "And that Tenzo, I will also deal with it." Betrayal of Danzo-sama is unforgivable. In the system space, everyone exploded again. "How do you have the nerve to say such things? Aren't you the kid who let Uchiha Obito go without permission? Hey, you're not really planning to attack Kakashi, are you?" Outside world, Danzo Shimura was very satisfied with Uchiha's enlightenment. This kid has only been at the root for a few days, but he has grown up a lot, becoming cruel and ruthless. This is right. From now on, I will definitely have an invincible sharp knife. Early the next morning, Uchiha Obito recovery team officially set off. Along the way, Uchiha looked at the surrounding scenery with some excitement. Speaking of which, after traveling for more than 10 years, this was his first time leaving the village. Hitaki Kakanishi seemed quite motivated. He kept saying in his heart, "Oh, this time, I will definitely bring you back." But the third person in the team, Tianzang, seemed a little reserved. Until now, he couldn't get over the shadow of the first meeting with Uchiha. This alternative kid who was born in the wealthy Uchiha family but also used would escape really made him a little confused. Especially when they just met, the other party accused him. Neglect of duty yesterday. Tianzang felt very wrong. I had obviously been looking for the intruder seriously all day. Although I didn't catch up with the thrilling battle at the end, it was just an accident. Ding. Tianzang has a strong feeling of grievance, and is rewarded with would escape 4-pillar family technique. Fortunately, Kakashi-senpai is with us. Otherwise, it would be really scary for me to be alone with that guy. The Kingdom of Water. It hangs alone on the sea just east of the Kingdom of Fire. It is very far away. Even at the speed of a ninja, it cannot be reached in one day. Soon, night falls. Hitaki Kakanishi showed off his Sharingan. Using his excellent dynamic vision and prediction ability, he easily caught a few fish. Tenzo, on the other hand, formed the seal very solemnly. On the field, he created a fish out of thin air. It's a perfect house. Everything is in the ready-made Uchiha style. I was lying comfortably in the house, eating grilled fish. I sincerely praised. Tisk tisk, what great wisdom. I believe, even with Madara Uchiha's wisdom back then, he would never have thought that the Sharingan could be used to catch fish. Similarly, even the first Hokage probably never thought that wood release could be used in this way. Hitaki Kakashi and Tenzo looked at each other, their faces darkening at the same time. Maybe this kid was trying to express his kindness. But why does this always sound like a curse? System space. Senju Hashirama's eyes lit up and he admitted very frankly. Really, I really never thought that wood release could be used like this. Young people still have many ideas, haha. Also, as far as I know, motor. You really have never thought of using Sharingan to catch fish, haha. Cut. Uchiha Madara snorted arrogantly. Who cares? The majestic Sharingan was actually used by a foreigner to do this kind of trick. What a disgrace to the Uchiha family's reputation. Ah yo, Senju Hashirama laughed and said. It's a motor. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it. It's not like he's so angry, right? Idiot. Uchiha Madara was furious after hearing this. Hasi hot mom. Do you think I'm as naive as you? Two men who once stood at the top of the ninja world and had deep kinship started fighting on the spot. Others did not even dare to break up the fight. Hitaki Sakumo asked in a low voice with some confusion. Second Hokage-sama, the two of them. Has it always been like this? At this time, Senju Hashirama, who was blushing and thick-necked, was arguing with Uchiha Madara over a trivial matter. There was a bit of a gap between him and the ninja god he imagined. Well, Senju Tobarama and Uchiha Izuna sighed at the same time. Used to it. The second day, the three-person team finally stepped from land to sea. On the border between the land of fire and the land of water, Konoha's ninjas are stationed. Providing them with a boat would not be a problem. When he was still half a day away from Kurigakure village, Hitaki Kakashi suddenly split into a shadow clone. We will stop updating novels on this site, move to our new site, web links. We will stop updating novels on this site, move to our new site, web links. Uchiha asked strangely. Captain Kakashi, is this? Hitaki Kakashi said with a somewhat solemn expression. Kurigakure village is closed all year round and isolated from the world. To read exciting novels, go to Philo Novel Network. No one knows what the specific situation is over there. For the sake of safety, I'd better send a shadow clone to check the basic situation first. If the shadow clone uses chakra to run on water, it will indeed be much faster than their small boat. Moreover, it can also ensure safety. After hearing this, Uchiha Ryu took the initiative to ask for help and said, Captain Kakashi, why do you need to do this kind of work? Leave it to me. You, Kakashi Hitaki frowned slightly. Although there is no danger in using a clone to spy on intelligence, it is actually not easy to complete it well. If he remembers correctly, this kid has never done it before. This kind of task. Seeing his hesitation, Uchiha continued. You and Tianzang have contributed all along the way. Give me a chance to contribute. Don't worry, I have a lot of chakra. And, it's very reliable. Hatake Kakashi heard this, and the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. Indeed, he doesn't have much chakra. After walking such a long way through the water, it was hard to say how much combat power he would have left when he arrived at Kurigakure village. In order to successfully bring Obito back to Konoha, he had to consider these issues carefully. Moreover, everyone has to have a first time. It's not impossible to let him try it. After all, judging from his previous performance, this kid is actually very careful. Thinking of this, Kakashi nodded slightly. But he still warned, remember, you must be careful. Our trip to sneak into Kurigakure village is to bring back Uchiha Obito. However, you must definitely avoid conflicts with Kurigakure ninjas, so as not to cause a war between Kurigakure and Konoha. Therefore, when you sneak in, you must not let the ninjas of Kurigakure discover your traces. Don't let them see your face. Understand? Clear, Uchiha solemnly promised. After saying that, he separated a wooden clone and let it act. Call. Hatake Kakashi let out a sigh of relief. Next, let's slow down and wait for news from the clone before deciding on the final infiltration plan. Don't worry, Captain Kakashi. Uchiha Lu slapped his chest loudly. I'm very reliable. Hatake Kakashi nodded, not doubting that he was there. Soon, 2 hours passed. Uchiha suddenly stood up. Captain Kakashi, Tenzo, and the clones have received news. Oh, how to say. Hatake Kakashi also stood up immediately. Uchiha frowned. The people in Kurigakure village are very strange. They seemed to be going crazy, shouting that there were assassins, gathered together noisily. Nani? Hatake Kakashi was shocked when he heard this. This is too bad. Where did the assassin come from? Is it Obito? Whether it is, trying to sneak into the highly alert Kurigakure village at this time has become a hellish difficulty. At this moment, Uchiha continued. But, I'm sure they're talking nonsense. Because, my wooden clone rushed all the way from the border to the Mizukage office forward. I've looked around almost the entire Kurigakure village, but I haven't seen any trace of the assassin. Oh, a flash of admiration flashed on Tianzang's honest face. Little brother, did your wooden clone survey the entire Kurigakure village so quickly? Are you near Mizukage's office? It's so awesome. Ding, Tianzang has a strong admiration, emotion, and is rewarded with, would escape in the Zhu family's technique. It's okay, it's all basic operations. Uchiha waved his hand very humbly. So I'm pretty sure those Kurigakure ninjas are absolutely talking nonsense. There are no assassins at all. Hatake Kakashi's mouth twitched slightly. He gritted his teeth and said, do you think there is a possibility? As the assassin they are talking about you. How on earth did you infiltrate? Chapter 71. How on earth did you infiltrate? Facing Hatake Kakashi's question, Uchiha said very matter-of-factly. I did everything according to Captain Kakashi's orders. You said, you can't let the enemy see my face. So, I deliberately became Tenzo. Kakashi Hatake's mouth twitched slightly. Isn't this taking off his pants and farting? Nani? Tianzang felt extremely painful. It took him a long time to squeeze out a few words from between his teeth. I'm really, thank you. Ding. Tianzang has a strong, speechless, emotion and is rewarded, wouldn't escape from the four-pillar prison. Uchiha continued. And, Captain, you said you can't let the enemy find my traces. Therefore, any ninja who sees my traces will be killed by me. There is absolutely no way that anyone alive knows my true identity. Ding. Tianzang has a strong, shocked, emotion, reward, would escape would substitute. Ding. Kakashi Hatake has a strong, shock, emotion, and the reward is, earthbreak and fang piercing. Ah this, Tenzo's mouth opened wide in shock. Hatake Kakashi couldn't help but squat down and cover his face with his hands. What a sin. What kind of madness did I have? What kind of infiltration plan did I let this brat carry out? If I had known this was the case. Even if you risk your life, you should let your shadow clone go. The key is, that kid still didn't realize what he did wrong until now. He asked in confusion, what's wrong? What's wrong with you all? Didn't I do everything according to Captain Kakashi's instructions? Kakashi Hatake's mouth twitched slightly. If I could give such a bizarre instruction. I would have to get out of the Anbu tomorrow. Wrong. Stop talking about me. All of Konoha. Even if a child is selected from the ninja school, it is impossible to carry out an infiltration mission like this, right? Within the system space. The undead were also shocked. These people are the strongest in the ninja world. In the end, they were all average film level. It can be said that he is well informed. But the infiltration operation in front of them still exceeded their understanding. The corners of Kionju Fajian's mouth twitched slightly. You of the Uchiha family, do you even know what infiltration is? Hitaki Sakumo, who is best at carrying out infiltration and assassination missions, couldn't help but complain. This kid, it seems like they are researching a new way to infiltrate. On the other side, in the Mizukage's office, Uchiha Obito is sitting on the Mizukage's throne. The real Mizukage, Goju Yagura, is standing aside blankly like a subordinate. Controlled by the Mangekyo Sharingan, he is no different from a puppet. This situation has actually been going on for many years. Kurigakure village, under the operation of such double shadows of light and dark, has become more and more outrageous. As for the root cause, is it Uchiha Obito who is retaliating against Kurigakure? Or is Kenji's IQ limiting him, making him unable to manage the village at all? This is unknown. Maybe it's both. Uchiha Obito looked through the information for a while and leaned back in his chair comfortably. The corners of his mouth raised slightly. By this time, Konoha should have issued a wanted notice for me. However, with the Uchiha guy acting as an internal agent, they must have gone straight to the land of rain to find trouble with Nagato. Who would have thought that I would be hiding in the Kurigakure village in the land of water? Just when Uchiha Obito was feeling complacent, he suddenly heard that there was chaos outside. Uchiha Obito frowned slightly and quickly sent Baizetsu out to find out the news. Baizetsu is also worthy of being the strongest information spy in the ninja world. The efficiency is extremely high, and multiple clones are dispatched at the same time. Not only did they find out that there were intruders in the village, but they even found out about Kakashi Hitaki and their ship. To read exciting novels, go to Philo Novel Network. Depend on. Uchiha Obito pinched his eyebrows in pain. I knew it. That brat named Uchiha is not reliable at all. I told him to lead Kakashi to the Rain Ninja Village. He actually brought Kakashi to the Kingdom of Water. Like, you can't blame him. Heiju complained helplessly. After all, he asked where your base camp was, but you didn't tell him. They came to Kurigakure now. I feel like it was an accident. Of course Uchiha Obito also understands this truth. But he still said stubbornly, that kid is very cunning. How could I completely trust him when he had just taken refuge? I'm also worried that he is gathering information for Konoha. Forget it, Zero. Heiju shook his head. It's meaningless to say this. What should we do now? Uchiha Obito's eyes narrowed slightly. There is such a big mess in Kurigakure village now. With Kakashi's idiotic personality, he will probably retreat temporarily. However, he will definitely make a comeback in the future. In order to protect our secret base, we must attack head-on. Let them never dare to come to Kurigakure again. Thinking of this, Uchiha Obito immediately ordered Goju Yagura next to him. Go there yourself. Lead the Kurigakure elite to intercept the invaders at sea. In the illusion cast by Uchiha Obito, Goju Yagura took it for granted that he was the opponent's subordinate. He accepted the order very happily and left the Mizukage office. On the other side, under the explanation of Hitaki Kakashi, Uchiha seems to finally understand why he was exposed. Oh my gosh, the guys from Kurigakure are too cunning, right? Hitaki Kakashi's face darkened. He growled with some annoyance. So many people suddenly died. Isn't it abnormal that people can't find out? The honest man Tianzang looked a little depressed and asked. So what should we do now? No need to ask. Uchiha waved his hand. He shouted boldly and energetically. Since the infiltration failed. Well, plans have changed. We can only attack with frontal force and seize Kurigakure village. Turn Kurigakure village into my branch village of Konoha. Tenzo's mouth opened wide when he heard this. For a moment, he couldn't tell whether the kid in front of him was joking or serious. Hitaki Kakashi's forehead jumped. He was 80% sure. This kid is probably serious. Because he clearly still remembers it. On that night 2 days ago. This kid once said in front of him and Obito that he would exterminate all other ninja villages and unify Konoha. It looks like this guy is ready to take the first step now. I have to say, this is really a big ambition, but just the three of them want to capture Kurigakure village. Is this serious? But just the three of them want to capture Kurigakure village. Is this serious? Thinking of this, Hatake Kakashi said with a bit of pain. Hey, kid. Don't be too outrageous. Don't always try to start a war. What's more, how can the three of us attack Kurigakure village? If this is the case now, it's better to retreat for now. We'll come back in a while. Did you make a mistake, Captain Kakashi? Uchiha retorted with an angry look on his face. The Kingdom of Water is now very close. Just give up. Don't you want to get your old friend back? Besides, why can't the three of us do it? Even if we are weak. But I believe it. With the burning will of fire in our hearts, we must be able to do anything. Killing the Kurigakure village is a piece of cake. In the system space, a cross suddenly appeared on Kionju Tobarama's forehead. Do not know why. Now every time I hear this brat mention the words, will of fire, I feel like this thing is not a good thing. As soon as this statement came out, received simultaneous recognition from Senju Hashirama, Hatake Tsukumo and Namikaze Minato. Feel the same. Outside world. After listening to Uchiha Ryu's words, the honest man Tenzo seemed to be a little excited, and his lips trembled slightly. Burn, it's on fire. Hatake Kakashi's forehead has several black lines hanging down. I said, please calm down, okay. Will of fire, although it is a good thing, it does not make you stronger. Impossible, Uchiha retorted flatly. What has supported me in getting stronger all the way to where I am today is the burning will of fire in my heart. Hatake Kakashi's forehead jumped, and he suppressed his anger and changed his words. My question. It should be said that the will of fire cannot make people stronger instantly. Not to mention, even if the will of fire can really enhance combat effectiveness. This is a country of water, a vast sea, and if you water it casually, the fire will be extinguished. The more Kakashi Hatake said, the more he felt something was wrong. Why did this sound unlucky? Moreover, it seemed that Kurigakure could easily defeat Konoha. But there is no way. It's okay not to say so. The will of fire in the hearts of my subordinates is too strong, and it is difficult to lead the team. Hatake Kakashi continued to explain, and it's not like we gave up. It's just a temporary retreat, understand? Understood. Uchiha nodded very obediently this time. Just when Hatake Kakashi breathed a sigh of relief, Uchiha spoke again. Nothing. It seems that it will be difficult to retreat now. What's wrong? Kakashi Hatake was stunned. Uchiha shrugged and said nonchalantly. If I don't perceive anything wrong. There are at least 20 Kurigakure elites running towards us. Especially the guy at the head. The amount of chakra should be many times that of Captain Kakashi. Ding. Hatake Kakashi has a strong shock emotion, and the reward is Thunder Shadow Clone Technique. Nani? Kakashi Hatake broke into a cold sweat when he heard this. Although it is not accurate to judge a person's strength based on the amount of chakra. However, as a veteran who has been in the ninja world for many years, Kakashi Hatake Nishi understands very well, people with more chakra may not be strong. But people with less chakra will never be too strong. It is said that Kakashi lacks blue, but in fact there are various signs that his chakra amount is actually not small, especially in the circle of elite Junin. If the opponent's chakra is many times better than his, I'm afraid it's a shadow level powerhouse. There's big trouble. Escape. As he said that, he immediately ordered Tianzang to turn the ship around. He created a shadow clone and rushed forward through the water. He tried to slow down the opponent's pursuit and buy some time for his own retreat. However, less than 5 minutes passed. Hatake Kakashi announced awkwardly. His shadow clone has been killed. And he was very sure. The child leading the opponent was definitely a shadow-level powerhouse. Uchiha heard this and said with slight praise. It seems like there are young geniuses like me in Kurigakure village. Hatake Kakashi's face darkened when he heard this. Is this kid a bigot or has a good attitude? At this time, he didn't forget to brag about himself, but Hatake Kakashi obviously still underestimated the courage of Uchiha style. Just listen to him wave his hand and say, so in the final analysis. Isn't it just about 20 people? Why are we running? Wouldn't it be enough to just kill them? Hatake Kakashi's mouth twitched slightly. I said, have you figured out the situation? Those who are chasing us are Kurigaku's most elite troops. The leader is still a shadow-level powerhouse. Even on land, we have no chance of winning. What's even worse is that this place is still at sea. To read exciting novels, go to Philo Novel Network. This is the favorite fighting venue of the Kurigaku ninjas. The power of the water escape technique they are good at can be greatly increased here. And the three of us, you two are playing wood escape, so you will be greatly weakened at sea. He's not very good at water escape techniques either. Uchiha glanced at Hatake Kakashi strangely. Then he grinned. Captain Kakashi, didn't the third Hokage tell you? Before awakening to wood escape, was I famous for water escape? It's time to give these Kurigaku a little water release shock. More than 20 people dare to chase us. How arrogant. Have you forgotten that the strongest water escape ninja in history is actually in Konoha? Kakashi Hatake said somewhat speechlessly. The one you are talking about is the second Hokage, right? If that adult were here, he could easily block Kurigaku's ninjas. But, how do you, an Uchiha, have the confidence to compare yourself to the second Hokage's water release? But, it makes no sense to say this now. Get ready to fight. Hatake Kakashi's expression suddenly became extremely solemn. His eyes were slightly focused, looking into the distance. There, the figures of the Kurigaku elites were clearly visible. The distance between the two sides is rapidly closing. What shocked Hatake Kakashi even more was, did I hear it wrong? Those Kurigaku ninjas seemed to be calling the leader with green hair Mizukage. Tianzang swallowed with some difficulty and murmured. If we rule out the small probability that we both heard it wrong at the same time. You heard it right. Hatake Kakashi's face suddenly became extremely solemn. He suddenly pulled out his ninja sword from behind and blocked the two people behind him. He said in a deep voice, when the battle starts later, I will use some forbidden moves. As long as there is a chance, you two will get away immediately. Kakashi-senpai, Tianzang's eyes suddenly became moist. Say no more. Kakashi Hatake shook his head. The failure of this operation was all due to my poor decision-making as the captain. I should take full responsibility for this. What's more, you two are still young and are the real future of Konoha. It is my honor to die to protect you, and it is also what I must do. The only regret, I just couldn't bring Obito back to Konoha. Fortunately, we can reunite with Lin. At this time, Hatake Kakashi stood with his back to the two of them, holding a knife. His back looked so tragic, within the system space. When a group of undead saw this scene, they also had mixed feelings. A flash of sadness flashed in Hatake Tsukumo's eyes, but he quickly clenched his fists. He shouted, okay, as expected of me, Konoha White Fang's son. Senju Hashirama nodded with deep approval, father and son are both heroes. This is the true will of fire. Kionju Tobijian muttered very unhappily. Why do you want to save this evil brat from the Uchiha family? Let him die. A dead Uchiha is a good Uchiha, outside world. He looked at Kakashi Hatake who was standing in front of him and, gradually getting into the act. Uchiha stretched wantonly. Then, he stepped past Hatake Kakashi. He said calmly, Captain Kakashi, you don't need to do anything for such a trivial matter. Let me, I already said that, give these arrogant Kurigaku ninjas a little shock of water release. Hatake Kakashi frowned and scolded in a deep voice. Kid, you're not messing around now. However, I couldn't continue speaking as soon as I was halfway through my words. His eyes suddenly widened, because, he saw it with his own eyes, the kid in front of him. He made a few seals slowly. Then he shouted, water escape. Who will build the dam? Then immediately, the boat and even the entire sea area with a radius of several hundred meters shook violently. Water escape. Who will build the dam? Immediately afterwards, the boat, and even the entire sea area with a radius of several hundred meters, all shook violently. Driven by the massive amount of chakra, the boundless sea water rose from the ground. A huge and boundless ellipsoid-shaped water prison, heading towards the outside world keeps spreading. Ding! Hatake Kakashi has a strong shock emotion, and the reward is, earth break earth flow castle wall. Ding. Tenzo has a strong, shock, emotion and is rewarded, water release water wave hand. Seeing this almost devastating scene, Hatake Kakashi's pupils trembled. I swallowed what I said halfway before on the spot. Then he murmured, the strength of this kid. Although I have never seen the second Hokage's water release. But, that's probably about this level, right? Tian Zhang's face was full of horror. See Gao Yi. In the system space, a group of undead also suddenly widened their eyes. Ding. Senju Tobijian has a strong, shock, emotion, reward, water escape technique power plus 10%. Ding. Uchiha Izuna has a strong, ecstasy, emotion, and the reward is, fire escape technique power 0%. Ding. Hatake Sakumo had a strong, shock, emotion, and he was rewarded with, earth escape split teeth. Ding. Namikaze Minato has a strong, shock, emotion, and the reward is, wind release pressure damage. Senju Tobarama's face was full of disbelief. This evil brat of the Uchiha family's water escape. It seems to be already above me. How can this be? Ha ha ha. Uchiha Izuna looked ecstatic. Thousand Hands Tobarama, have you seen it? What an outstanding descendant of my Uchiha clan. Even the water escape attainment surpasses yours. Hatake Sakumo and Namikaze Minato looked at each other, and they both saw the shock in each other's eyes. Both of them are single target output type assassins. They really can't handle such a large-scale technique. Outside world. A group of Kurigakure elites are following Goji Yagura forward. Seeing this overwhelming scene, their eyes are full of horror. The sea should be their home ground. However, the water escape skills on the opposite side are simply terrifying. Ah! To be able to create such a terrifying effect, one must have a profound understanding of water release. The most important thing is, how much chakra must be used. Goji Yagura's face was solemn, and he did not show off. Instead, he said in a deep voice shouted, let's take action together. Yes, the Kurigakure ninjas responded in unison. Kurigakure is alone overseas, with limited resources, and has always followed the elite route. Therefore, Kurigakure's ninjas have very high combat literacy. What's more, the one who came this time as it was Kurigakure's pursuit force. They were the elite among the elite. Goju Yagura just gave a simple order and did not need too many instructions at all. Everyone immediately started to form seals at the same time. Water escapes from the water formation wall. More than 20 Kurigakure elites, including Mizukage, used the water formation wall together. In front of everyone, a huge water wall was erected that covered the sky and the sun. At the same time, the Uchiha flow's big water explosion, the wave came. There was a huge roar when the waves collided. The perfect formation of the Kurigakure ninjas was directly washed away. A few unlucky ones who were not strong enough fell directly into the water. Too strong. Kakashi Hatake's powerful vision through the Sharingan. Take a panoramic view of the embarrassment of the Kurigakure ninja. This isn't water escape, it's simply sea escape. More than 20 ninjas joined forces, but they couldn't completely defend against Lu's attack. From the looks of it, there might be a chance to win. Just when he was in a daze, Uchiha had already formed the next seal. Uchiha raised his right hand, and chakra burst out with infinite gravity. The seawater from all directions in the west was attracted and rushed towards his arm crazily. In just 3 seconds, an unknown amount of water flow gathered here. Moreover, it was forcibly compressed by the Uchiha flow with chakra. Finally, it gathered into a blue water javelin. This extremely gorgeous water javelin, if to ordinary people, they would think it was just a static water spear. However, under Hatake Kakashi's Sharingan eyes, he could see clearly. On this water javelin that does not look huge, there are countless fine. The water flow is divided into countless levels. It flows in an undirected manner at a speed that is difficult to discern with the naked eye. This is an effect that can only occur when the changes in the nature and form of the water attribute chakra are achieved at the same time. At this moment, Hatake Kakashi suddenly felt it's such a creepy feeling. Such a mark. If it pricks you, I'm afraid your whole body will be cut into pieces. Water escape hard vortex water blade. With a loud shout from Uchiha, the water javelin was thrown violently. The Kurigakure elites had been scattered from their formation and had not yet stood firm in the battle. In addition, they were far away and did not pay attention at all. This is not a huge technique. It suffered a big loss all of a sudden. The gorgeous water javelin exploded in the crowd of Kurigakure. All of a sudden, a terrifying waterspout was formed. The blue waterspout was almost after using it for a moment, it was stained with blood. With just one blow, more than half of the Kurigakure elites were directly killed. Who is the other party? Terrible. To read cool novels, go to Philo Novel Network. The Kurigakure elites who were lucky enough to survive saw that their companions could not even find their bodies. All of them had red eyes and were frightened. The reason why they survived was not because they were strong. The main reason is that they are further away from the location of the tornado. More than one person begged, Mizuki-sama, please take action quickly. The opponent is definitely a shadow-level player, and we are really no match for him. Goju Yagura said nothing with a gloomy face. He just responded with practical actions. He pointed to his chest suddenly. Then, violent red and black chakra burst out. In just one breath, it completely covered his entire body. Holy shit, Kakashi Hatake was still immersed in the shock of Uchiha's blow just now. The next moment, he saw this amazing scene. He subconsciously uttered a curse word. Tailed beast. Kurigakure's Mizuki is actually a Jinchuriki. Kakashi Hatake was really shocked. I don't know whether this Kurigakure village used the Mizuki as a container for the tailed beast. Or did the Jinchuriki become the Mizuki? This is not the same thing, do you understand? No matter which one, it is still quite unusual. I just don't know if it's a three-tailed one or a six-tailed one. It might be better if it was Vulpix. The three tails are said to be the best at fighting in the sea. In the midst of Hatake Kakashi's thoughts, Gotochibana Yagura's tailed beast transformation deepens again. Three whip tails, as ferocious as mountain thorns, extended from behind him. Depend on. Kakashi Hatake's face suddenly turned dark. The worst happened. Immediately he told me solemnly. Quote. You two, pay attention. The opponent is the three-tailed Jinchuriki. The three-tailed beast is comparable to the nine-tailed beast. When Tianzang heard this, his expression was extremely solemn. A thin line of cold sweat appeared on his forehead. After all, he is just a teenager now. This is the first time he has faced a tailed beast. Although, everyone says that the wood release technique can restrain tailed beasts. However, Tianzang knows very well how much he weighs. Uchiha laughed jokingly. Fortunately, Uzumaki Naruto is not here. How? Kakashi Hatake was stunned. Uchiha smiled and said, otherwise, that irritable fox will probably get angry again. Three tails. What level is worthy of being compared with my nine tails uncle? There must be differences between tailed beasts. The corner of Hatake Kakashi's mouth twitched slightly. No kid, you are a little confused about the situation, right? How long has it been since you still have the heart to joke? In order to prove his point of view, Uchiha even gave a few examples. Just like, although Tenzo and the first Hokage both possess the wood release blood successor, their power is obviously different. Tenzo's wood release can only be used to build houses. And the first Hokage-sama can go catch the tailed beast. Another example, Captain Kakashi, you, like Uchiha Obito, have the Mangekyo Sharingan. However, if we just look at the power, no one would think that these eyes Wong Li's are actually the same pair of eyes, right? Another example, those Kurigakure ninjas and I are also known to be good at water escape techniques. But if more than 20 of them join forces, they are no match for me. Ding. Hatake Kakashi has a strong, embarrassing, emotion, and the reward is, multiple earth escape walls. Ding. Tenzo has a strong, embarrassing, emotion and is rewarded, earth escape earth-style spear. Hatake Kakashi heard this and looked at each other with Tenzo. Then he looked at the Uchiha stream at the same time. I have to admit, this person's metaphor makes sense, but this guy is really dirty when he curses. There are 3 of us, and you gave 3 examples. Why are we both negative examples? Is your side the only one with the positive side? Kid, do you know that if you talk like this, it will destroy the unity of the team? Uchiha completely ignored the resentful glances of the 2 people. He continued to mutter. Besides, I have already said. The ninjas of Kurigakure are not very smart. Now it seems that we have finally found the source. Their Mizukage's brain is not very good. Knowing that we have wood release ninjas here, how dare you transform into a tailed beast here? Hasn't he heard of the story of the first Hokage who captured tailed beasts, packaged them and sold them to the 4 major countries to make extra money? Knowing that we have wood release ninjas here, how dare you transform into a tailed beast here? Hasn't he heard of the story of the first Hokage who went around capturing tailed beasts, then packaged them and sold them to the 4 major countries for money? Tenzo was horrified when he heard this. Although he also has wood release, as Uchiha said, his wood release is not worthy of being compared with the first Hokage. But soon, Tenzo reacted. Oh, Uchiha Ryu said, wood release ninja, it should be him, not him. The corners of Hatake Kakashi's mouth twitched slightly. Out of respect for the ninja god, he still explained. I said, catch tailed beasts and sell them for money. Hashirama-sama is not that superficial. I heard that the first Hokage distributed tailed beasts in order to balance the power between the major countries and maintain peace. Clear, Uchiha nodded very obediently. I've heard of this too. It seems that the first Hokage originally wanted to give it to me for free. However, he was firmly stopped by the second Hokage, saying that he had to sell it for money. So, superficial people are the second generation Hokage. When Hatake Kakashi heard this, his expression suddenly became a little embarrassed. These words. It's really not easy to pick up. Within system space. Ah ha ha ha. Senju Hashirama, who has an out-of-touch personality, couldn't help but slap the floor and laugh wildly. He felt that this junior is too funny. Ding. A strong, angry emotion arose in Qian hands, and the reward was water escape, water binding rope. A cross suddenly appeared on Kionju Tobijian's forehead. Idiot, the Uchiha brat who is born evil, the hearsay is full of nonsense. White Fang kid, did you see it? Your son is also slandering me. He is slandering me, Hatake. Tsukumo broke into a cold sweat and quickly apologized with a smile. Yes, children are ignorant and talk nonsense about state affairs. The second generation of adults should calm down. Uchiha Madara took the words and said, Tobirama, do you know how to bully juniors? Look at your potential. Could it be that those 2 brats outside were wrong? Selling tailed beasts for money is superficial. Senju Tobirama had a gloomy face and said nothing. Senju Hashirama suddenly became energetic, as if he had found a close friend. He immediately echoed, look, Tobirama, let me tell you. Selling tailed beasts for money is definitely not a wise choice. Sure enough, everyone had the same opinion. Uchiha Madara glanced sideways at his good friend and couldn't help but complain. Pull him down quickly, Hasi hot mom. Selling tailed beasts for money is really superficial. But, you gave away the tailed beast for nothing in an attempt to achieve peace through this method. Your question is no longer superficial, you are simply stupid. Senju Hashirama's face suddenly fell. He ran to the corner dejectedly and drew circles. Outside world. Seeing Hatake BBDG Kakashi successfully being silenced by himself. Uchiha grinned and said with a smile, Captain Kakashi and Tenzo are standing firm. Next, I will imitate the first Hokage. Use the wood release technique to suppress this stupid Mizukage. Speaking of which, it's not easy to visit the land of water. Although I couldn't bring Uchiha Obito back. However, if the Mizukage of Kurigakure and the 3 tails are packed and brought back to Konoha, the 3rd Hokage will probably be very happy too. Kakashi Hatake's mouth twitched slightly. He wanted to say, the mature and prudent 3rd Hokage will never be happy because of this. However, Uchiha did not give him a chance to speak again. I saw his hands suddenly clasped together. Boom. This mudra is the best choice for quickly mobilizing chakra. Uchiha's robes are windless and automatic. The chakra in the body has completely leaked out of the body. Just the air wave formed around them almost knocked over Kakashi Hatake and Tenzo. Under the shocked gazes of the 2 people, Uchiha shouted softly. The wood escape tree world is born. Boom. The sea, which had been relatively calm just now, was shaking violently again. Countless thick branches and vines erupted from the bottom of the sea. At an extremely fast speed, they grew into a huge behemoth. Kakashi Hatake's pupils shrank suddenly. In fact, this is not the first time he has seen Uchiha perform this technique. But this time he was even more shocked. Giant trees grow on the sea. This completely goes against biological common sense. However, wood release is such an unreasonable technique. The vitality and nutrients for the birth of the tree world have never been supplied by the earth. Rather, it all depends on the chakra of the caster. Ding! Tianzang has a strong shock emotion, and is rewarded the technique of wood escape from the forest. 2. Terrible. Tianzang's face was full of horror. To read Baoshuang novels, go to Filu Novel Network. Is this the genuine mutton that awakens completely on its own without relying on cell transplantation? Compared to him, my wood release is just a toy. Opposite to several people, those Kurigakure ninjas who managed to survive were also extremely shocked. This mutton. According to legend, the technique used by the first Hokage of Konoha. First there was water release that was comparable to the second Hokage, and now even wood release has appeared. Oh my gosh, what kind of enemy are we facing? Mizukage-sama, can you really win? Roar. Goju Yagura is known as the perfect Jinchuriki after all. Although he has been deeply transformed into a tailed beast, he still maintains his sanity. When he saw the huge tree world that exploded, he immediately realized that something was wrong. He roared wildly. With the huge body of the three tails, such a roar. It triggered a small tsunami almost instantly. However, this time the Uchiha flow mobilized an extremely large amount of chakra. The tree world is very tough. With this small the tricks couldn't shake it at all. When the three tails saw this, they immediately went crazy. The three tails suddenly rolled up and gathered near the mouth. At the same time, countless purple-black chakra balls continued to gather. At a speed visible to the naked eye, gathered into an extremely huge purple-black sphere. Not good. Hitaki Kakashi's pupils shrank suddenly. It is the ultimate secret of tailed beasts, tailed beast jade. There's going to be big trouble. Cold sweat kept sliding down Kakashi's face. He knew very well that such an ultimate technique could not be resisted by just a few defensive techniques such as water formation wall and earth current wall. The birth of Uchiha's tree realm, although it seems huge. But it's too scattered after all. Just when Kakashi was at a loss, Uchiha smiled and said, "Don't panic. Just tailed beast jade. Watch me conquer it." His big hand was slightly empty. As chakra surged, a wooden trident kunai formed in the palm of his hand. There were also strange runes engraved on the handle. This is. When Hitaki Kakashi saw this scene, his heart suddenly moved. Boom. At this moment, the three-tailed beast jade has finally been charged up. Officially launched. The tailed beast jade is obviously still quite far away from the sea. But the attack along the way still plowed out a terrifying abyss from the sea. This shows how powerful it is. Uchiha smiled slightly. He raised the kunai in his hand and pointed it at the oncoming tailed beast jade from a distance. The next moment, in front of the tailed beast jade that was advancing with a roar, a large piece of strange and complicated rune suddenly bloomed in the void. At the very center of the rune, there is a whirlpool. Next, in the shocked eyes of everyone, the huge tailed beast jade was quickly swallowed up by the rune. In the end, it completely disappeared in place. How? What happened? The few surviving Kurigakure elites looked at each other in shock. Such a big tailed beast jade just disappeared out of thin air. What kind of weird magic is this? In fact, even the three-tailed beast that had completely transformed into a tailed beast showed a hint of human doubt. The next moment, a loud noise suddenly came from the Kurigakure village behind everyone. The tailed beast jade that had been absorbed by the rune vortex before, suddenly arrived in Kurigakure village without any warning. The place where the tailed beast Tama appeared happened to be the most important symbol of Kurigakure, the Mizukage office. There was the coordinates of the flying thunder god that had been placed by a clone of the Uchiha style before. 0.1 of a second later, a shocking explosion erupted from the sky above Mizukage's office. Even though the battlefield here was still more than 10 kilometers away from Kurigakure village, it was still shaken by the shock. All Kurigakure ninjas were shaken. The reader looked back in disbelief, just in time to see the mushroom cloud rising slowly. There is no need for Uchiha to look back. He was facing the direction of Kurigakure village. At this time, the corners of his mouth were slightly raised. Secretly said, "Uchiha Obito, you should be in Mizukage's office at this time, right? As your most reliable ally, you should be happy to give you a small gift, right? Uchiha Obito, you should be in the Mizukage's office right now, right? As your most reliable ally, you should be happy to give you a small gift, right? Inside Kurigakure village, Uchiha Obito was not only very happy, he was about to explode with anger. If Black Zetsu's perception wasn't sharp enough, the moment before the tailed beast Jade exploded, he was reminded. The two of them hurriedly hid in the divine space. Maybe it's dead now, idiot. Uchiha Obito's face, as gloomy as water. What on earth is that Goju Yagura doing? Has my illusion failed? I don't see it, Heiju said slowly. Just now, if I clearly felt a wave of time and space. It must be someone from Konoha who used the time and space technique to transfer Yagura's tailed beast Jade here. Uchiha Obito spat hard. Hitaki Kakashi, that loser has no such ability. It must be that brat named Uchiha. Why is this fool in so much trouble? Heiju also spread his hands helplessly. Moving the tailed beast Jade here is more like revenge against Kurigakure, just a tactical choice. It's not like it's specifically targeting us. He has no reason to know we're here. It seems that this time it is still an accident. Another accident. The corners of Uchiha Obito's mouth twitched slightly. To be honest, he also admitted that Black Zetsu's analysis was reasonable. But, do not know why, there was always an ominous premonition in his heart. On the sea, Hitaki Kakashi turned back sharply and stared at Uchiha. His face was full of surprise. That was just now. Does the flying thunder god guide thunder? At this moment, in the eyes of Kakashi Hitaki, the figure of Uchiha vaguely overlapped with another illusory blonde figure. Teacher. Ding. Hitaki Kakashi has a strong shock emotion, and the reward is thunder release thunder beast chasing Fang. In the system space, a look of shock appeared on the faces of the undead. Flying thunder god guiding thunder. A flash of remembrance flashed in Namikaze Minato's eyes. If I remember correctly, 3 years ago, in Konoha, he used this technique to transfer the nine-tailed beast Jade, but the operation of Uchiha style is obviously more complicated. Not only did they divert the attack, they even moved it directly to Kurigakure village. Kionju Tobarama's face suddenly darkened. Baga. This evil Uchiha brat, when did I even learn the time and space technique? Moreover, he actually used wood escape to create the flying thunder god mark. It's simply too convenient. The upper limit is even higher than me. Moreover, Sharingan, wood release, and now flying thunder god. If this continues, no one in the ninja world can suppress him. Ding. A strong feeling of worry arose in Senju Tobarama, and the reward was flying thunder god slash. Uchiha Madara's face was also extremely gloomy. In this Uchiha style, Uchiha Madara clearly saw the shadows of himself, Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama. If it continues to grow, it will be as if 3 people have merged into one. By that time, I'm afraid immortal eyes can't resist it either. If it really comes to that point, why talk about the Eye of the Moon plan? Uchiha Obito, this idiot. You actually want to cooperate with this kid. Hurry up and find an opportunity to kill him. Ding. Uchiha Madara has a strong, angry, emotion, and the reward is increased Mangekyo Sharingan Eye power. System prompt. After the host's Mangekyo Sharingan Eye power has been improved many times, the Susanoo second stage has been unlocked. Roar. Godachibana Yagura doesn't know the flying thunder god guiding thunder. However, he is certain the reason why the tailed beast Jade he sent out was inexplicably transferred to Kurigakure village. The kid opposite must have tampered with it. When I think of it, the village suffered huge losses because of itself, and Yagura was immediately furious. Sanwei Isozu immediately roared. Then, the huge body suddenly arched up. To read Baoshuang novels, go to Phailu Novel Network. With the giant behind his back, the thick carapace wrapped the whole body. Then, driven by the massive tailed beast chakra, the whole body was like a wheel, rolling crazily on the sea. The huge tailed beast body, carrying huge waves. Rushing towards Konoha 3 people. Opening square bracket closing square bracket. This is the unique move of Sanwei Isozu, Shadow Caress. Faced with such a terrifying move, Uchiha just smiled slightly. The handprint changes. The art of escape from wood to wood dragon. Boom. Under the pull of the massive amount of chakra, the tree world under everyone's feet quickly deformed. Soon, an extremely powerful wooden dragon appeared on the sea. Although it was only a wooden dragon. However, on its body, the scales are every inch clear. The eyes bloom with sacred golden light. This can be said to be lifelike. In its body, it exudes a strong dragon power. It is as if the real dragon is reincarnated. As soon as the wooden dragon appeared, it immediately looked up to the sky and roared. After that, it brazenly facing the rushing three-tailed Zodiac. The three-tailed shadow caress looks somewhat similar to the meat bomb chariot of the Akamichi clan. But coupled with the huge body of the tailed beast and the massive amount of chakra, its power has been greatly enhanced. 100 times. However, even with such a powerful move, he still failed to gain the upper hand against the wooden dragon. As the wooden dragon moved vertically and horizontally, the speed of the three tails soon became slower and slower, until it completely stopped. The two behemoths were fighting like this on the sea. The three tails seemed to be going crazy, dancing wildly with three tails with countless spikes. Please keep bombarding the wooden dragon's body, bringing up the sky with broken pieces chips. However, in just a few breaths, Wood Dragon's body was completely repaired. Supported by Uchiha's massive chakra, Wood Dragon is almost immortal. After completely entangling the three-tailed body after staying, the Wood Dragon's body glowed brightly, and it began to absorb the tailed beast's chakra from the three tails. The three tails obviously realized that something was wrong and struggled desperately. But in the end, it was to no avail. This Wood Dragon's technique was mastered by Senju Hashirama back then. But not even the nine-tailed demon fox can resist. Even though the Uchiha style at this time is still unable to compete with Senju Hashirama. But, the three tails are far from comparable to the nine tails. Kaleidoscope and Wood Release are both known as the tailed beast's nemesis. The Mangekyo Sharingan can hypnotize or even forcibly control tailed beasts. As for Wood Release, it's because of its technique that it can forcibly absorb tailed beast chakra. The tailed beast's massive amount of chakra and recovery ability turned into a complete joke in front of Mu Dun. Once the wooden dragon entangles it, the tailed beast will only become weaker and weaker. Sure enough, the three tails that were originally still struggling fiercely, under the rapid extraction of the wooden dragon, the struggling movements became smaller and smaller, and the breath became more and more sluggish. A few minutes later, unable to even maintain its tailed beast body, it was forced to cancel its tailed beast transformation and return to human form. The short body of the fourth Mizukage was revealed again. Being rolled up by the wooden dragon, he had lost all his strength. As for those Kurigakure elites who were lucky enough to survive before, it was even more miserable. They didn't even get to witness the defeat of their own Mizukage-sama. In less than a minute after the wooden dragon arrived, it was all tied up by the wooden escape vines that swept across the sky. Drain the chakra directly, like hanging bacon, hanging on the branches. Uchiha clapped his hands and said with a satisfied smile, "It's done." When he turned around, he was faced with two familiar faces that were almost petrified. Uchiha raised his hand and waved it in front of their eyes before the two of them came back to their senses. Hitaki Kakashi and Tenzo looked at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. Winning was beyond their expectations. What's even more outrageous is, this speed is too fast. I know, he caught a Mizukage, the three-tailed Jinchuriki. For those who didn't know, I thought they were on a D-level mission to catch cats. Too strong. Tianzang couldn't help but sigh. Ding. Tianzang has a strong admiration, emotion, and is rewarded the technique of wood escape from the giant wooden pillar. Uchiha shrugged. Did you see it? I told you earlier, there is no need to run away. Kurigakure's ninjas are really not that strong. Next, let's capture Kurigakure village. The corner of Hitaki Kakashi's mouth twitched slightly. This kid, why haven't you given up on this ridiculous idea? The corners of Hitaki Kakashi's mouth twitched slightly. This kid, why haven't you given up on this ridiculous idea? At this time, Hitaki Kakashi has fully realized. Sometimes, the will of fire is too strong. This is really not a good thing. Thinking of this, Hitaki Kakashi shook his head helplessly. He asked in a different way. Kid, do you still have chakra when you unleash such large-scale techniques one after another? Anyway, looking at it from Kakashi's perspective. Just those, sea escapes, flying thunder god guiding thunder, and the oversized wood release technique. No matter which one, it can definitely drain his whole body. He just thought, even if the Uchiha style is extremely talented, chakra is his many times. However, by continuously performing so many large-scale techniques, you should reach your limit, right? Uchiha glanced at Hatake Kakashi strangely and said with a smile. Captain Kakashi, do you think I have no chakra? Hatake Kakashi heard this and looked at it carefully. Don't tell me. The kid, 720 old, after a series of battles, he didn't show any signs of depression. Why did he seem to be more energetic? This. Uchiha grinned. Captain, you don't know something. The real wood release can continuously extract the enemy's chakra to restore itself during battle. To be honest, don't look at the fact that I just performed several expensive spells. However, because most of Rakuo's chakra, I now, not only is there no feeling of chakra depletion. Instead, there is a pain that has nowhere to vent. Uchiha said, while shaking his head with some distress. He turned to look at Hatake Kakashi and asked sincerely. Captain Kakashi, you must have never experienced this feeling, right? Ding. Hatake Kakashi has a strong shock emotion, and the reward is Thunder Release Raiden. The corners of Hatake Kakashi's mouth twitched slightly. Listen, is this human language? At this time, Kakashi only felt that the joys and sorrows of people are not the same. He was not a person with a lot of chakra to begin with. In addition, the 3 Magatama Sharingan can never be closed. As a result, his body was like a colander, with chakra being continuously consumed. Where can I go to experience the feeling of nowhere to vent chakra? Hatake Kakashi shook his head, getting rid of these messy thoughts. He continued to dissuade. Even if you still have plenty of chakra, we can't even think about attacking Kurigakure village rashly. Although you have defeated the Mizukage now, there are still some Kurigakure elites. However, there are countless ninjas on standby in Kurigakure village. And, the Six Tails Jinchuriki hasn't appeared yet. Kakashi's original intention was naturally to persuade Uchiha to retreat. Unexpectedly, Uchiha became even more excited after hearing this. Yes, Vulpix is also from Kurigakure. It just so happened that I felt that if I only caught a 3-tail and took it back, it would be a little too thin as a gift. Just in time to capture Vulpix and make a couple. Wouldn't it be wonderful? Hatake Kakashi pinched his eyebrows helplessly. He felt that this kid's thinking was simply too abnormal. It seems that normal persuasion is really difficult to succeed. He can only, showing off the majesty of his captain. Although, after the battle just now, the captain of the whole paddling process, seemed to have lost his majesty. Hatake Kakashi said seriously. No, you guy, be normal. Get rid of all these weird thoughts that can easily lead to war. Never mention it again. Don't forget, our trip is to hunt down Uchiha Obito. Uchiha shrugged. Then what do you think we should do now? At this time, Kurigakure village is probably in chaos. It is no longer possible to sneak in again. Well, Hatake Kakashi sighed helplessly. Forget it, get Mizukage over here and I'll talk to him. Uchiha snapped his fingers casually. Mulong immediately dragged Guju Yagura over and put it in front of everyone. At this time, Mizukage was on the verge of fainting due to excessive chakra consumption. It all depends on hanging for a breath. At this time, he was let go by Mulong, and he recovered a little. To read Baoshuang novels, go to Philo Novel Network. Mr. Mizukage, we are. Hatake Kakashi tried to communicate with him. However, Goju Yagura's eyes were a little hollow, as if she didn't want to communicate with him. Hatake Kakashi frowned, not knowing what to do. Uchiha rolled his eyes and suggested. I think this guy's mind was not normal to begin with, and now he's even a little less clear-headed. It's better to just use Sharingan to hypnotize him. See if he knows the whereabouts of Uchiha Obito. The abacus in Uchiha Ryu's heart clicked. As long as Hatake Kakashi acts according to this plan, he will surely discover the illusion that Uchiha Obito cast on Mizukage. By that time, Comrade Kenji will never be able to. He can no longer lurk in the kingdom of water. He will be completely reduced to a lost dog. Hatake Kakashi hesitated. He felt that using this method to deal with a village of shadows could easily cause unnecessary trouble. It would be bad if this caused a war between Kurigakure and Konoha. However, Uchiha continued to stimulate him. Captain Kakashi, do you really want to leave empty-handed? Don't you want to know the whereabouts of Obito Uchiha? Did you forget to talk to Nohara when you were at the commemorative monument? Seeing that Uchiha not only mentioned Obito again, but even Lin wanted to move out. The corners of Hatake Kakashi's mouth twitched slightly, and he surrendered helplessly. Okay, stop talking, kid. I'll try. As he spoke, he pointed to his chest suddenly. The 3 Magatama Sharingan is aimed at Gotochibana Yagura's eyes and rotates quickly. The next moment, Hatake Kakashi suddenly took several steps back. There was cold sweat running down my face. Kakashi-senpai, what's wrong with you? Tianzang was startled and hurriedly stepped forward to hold him up. Water shadow, Hatake Kakashi Yugi murmured in shock. Mizukage had been controlled by illusion before. Oh, Uchiha seemed to have just learned about this. He rubbed his chin and said with some disbelief. Impossible. Can the dignified Mizukage or the Jinchuriki be controlled? Kakashi Hatake's face was still full of shock. Just now, he used the Sharingan Eye technique to invade Goju Yagura's brain. As a result, as soon as the eye power invaded, he saw a huge Mangekyo Sharingan in the shape of a sickle and a shuriken. That pattern was all too familiar to him. It's Obito. Uchiha Obito. Sure enough, he has been lurking in Kurigakure village. The corners of Uchiha-Lu's mouth raised slightly, and he muttered for fear that the world would not be in chaos. Tisk tisk, Konoha's rebellious ninja has been secretly manipulating Kurigakure's Mizukage. If this kind of thing spreads, it will be a big event that shocks the ninja world. Hearing what he said, Hatake Kakashi became more and more aware of the seriousness of the problem. Head locked. Obito, this guy. Not only did he commit a major crime in Konoha village, but he was also troubled in Kurigakure. If these things are revealed, how should I save your life? Uchiha rolled his eyes and continued. So, I have 2 solutions here. The first is for me or you to cast an illusion to cover Obito Uchiha's illusion. From now on, Kurigakure's water shadow will be under our control. Uchiha Obito could only escape from Kurigakure in despair. Hatake Kakashi's mouth twitched slightly. Without thinking, he said directly, you can just say the second one. Uchiha shrugged. The second kind, it was you who forcibly broke Obito Uchiha's illusion. Let this water shadow wake up. Kakashi Hatake's eyes narrowed slightly, then what? Then, the corners of Uchiha's mouth raised slightly. Then I used wood release to hang him up and let him go to Kurigakure village to call the door. We forcibly searched Kurigakure village. Find out that Uchiha Obito who only knows how to cause trouble. P.S. Preview of the next chapter. Your Excellency Mizukage, you don't want Kurigakure village to be destroyed either. Then I hung him up with a wooden escape and told him to go to Wuin village to call the door. Quote. We forcibly searched Wuin village. Quote. Find out the fool who only knows what to do with Uchiha Obito. When Kakashi Hachiki heard this, he directly broke out in a cold sweat. He glared at the Uchiha stream with some incredulity. You're the fool who only knows how to get into trouble. At the end of the day, Uchiha Obito is now a traitor. Whether the actions of a traitor will really affect Konoha is unknown. But they're the shadows of Konoha in earnest. If they use illusion to control the Mizukage, if this kind of thing is exposed, I'm afraid that in the blink of an eye, Konoha will become a public enemy of the ninja world. The other approach is also outrageous. Hang up the Mizukage and call the door. Then this beam can be regarded as dead. If Wuin doesn't fight with Konoha, he's really sorry for the name of Blood Mist. What does this imp think? Why is it always so weird? Do you always want to lead Konoha in the direction of war? Alas, thinking of this, Kakashi Hachiki couldn't help but sigh. Said with some tiredness, okay, you shut up from now on. Quote. I'll take care of everything. Quote. The Uchiha Ryu spread his hands towards Tenzo, looking like, Captain Kakashi, I can't listen to advice at all. In this regard, Tianzang dared to express his opinion, and immediately lowered his head. Here, Kakashi Hachiki dismissed Uchiha Ryu's opinion. Immediately began to urge the kaleidoscope riding wheel eye, and forcibly broke the illusion of Uchiha Obito. And the 4 generations of Mizukage, whose mind has never been clear, have finally regained their clarity. Goji Yakura, who came to his senses, narrowed his eyes slightly, and looked at the trio in front of him. Especially on the body of the Uchiha stream, he stayed for a few more seconds. Although he was controlled by illusion before. However, he was still very impressed by this little ghost who controlled the wooden escape technique and easily captured him. After looking around for a week, Goji Yakura said in a deep voice. Is it a ninja of Konoha? You caught me. But it doesn't matter, although you have invaded the land of water. Quote. But, for the sake of you helping me unlock the illusion, I can ignore it, and treat it as if nothing happened. I'm going to rush back and kill that fool now. It seems that some hatred that goes deep into the bone marrow is in mind. Goji Yakura's face suddenly became very ugly. If you are in a situation, you will rush back to Wuin village desperately. The Uchiha frowned. He felt that this Mizukage-sama. It seems a little confusing. Immediately, snapped his fingers. Immediately, a vine stretched out and tied the Goji Orange Yakura again. The Uchiha Ryu glanced at him and spoke. Hey, little ghost, I said you. Isn't there a little confusion about the situation? You don't care. Now, it looks like you're our captive, right? Ding. Goji Yakura has a strong, angry, emotion, reward, the wind escapes the typhoon. A cross burst out on the forehead of the Goji Orange Yakura. Yaga, little ghost, who do you call it? I'm probably older than your father. Anxious, he's anxious. The Uchiha pointed at Goji Yakura and gestured to his 2 teammates. It's a little ghost. Quote. Imps like to pretend to be old. Quote. Yakura felt the urge to vomit blood. Kakashi Hachiki rolled his eyes and didn't answer the conversation. Turning to Mizukage, he asked. Mizukage-sama. Quote. Excuse me, is the person who cast the illusion on you still in the fog-hidden village? Goji Yakura's eyes narrowed slightly, and he looked at everyone very vigilantly. Gang up with him. The Uchiha pouted, the little ghost's IQ is really not good. Quote. If we're in the same league as him, will we help you dispel the illusion? The corners of Goji Yakura's mouth twitched slightly. Although this little imp speaks very hard. But I have to admit that there is some truth in what this is saying. Then you are. Kakashi Hachiki said apologetically, I'm very sorry, Mizukage-sama. Quote. That person is our Konoha traitor, Uchiha Obito. If you read a violent novel, go to Philo Novel Network. We apologize for the inconvenience caused to you in Wuin village. Quote. We came to the land of water to bring it back to. Kakashi muttered for a moment, then changed the word, arrested. Quote. Goji Yakura gritted his teeth. For so many years, although he has been controlled by illusions, he is confused. Opening square bracket, closing square bracket. But that doesn't mean he doesn't know what's going on over the years. The extreme intensification of the blood mist policy, and the rebellion of so many blood generation families and elite ninjas. The root of everything is that fool named Uchiha Obito. Unforgivable. The more Mizukage-sama thought about it, the more angry he felt, and he squeezed a few words out between his teeth. Fog will never let that fool go. You can take his corpse back to Konoha. Kakashi Hachiki suddenly looked a little unpleasant when he heard this. If he wanted a dead Uchiha Obito, why bother to come to the land of water? But it seems, the guy with the soil really choked the fog-hidden scourge. This Mizukage-sama, it is impossible to forgive him at all. That's going to be tough. Kakashi Hachiki frowned and didn't speak. Even, inadvertently glanced at Uchiha Ryu. This moment. Kakashi regretted it a little in his heart. If I had known that this was the case, I might as well have listened to the words of the Uchiha stream. Use illusions to control the Mizukage. No future. Quote. I'll fix it. Quote. The Uchiha rolled his eyes at his captain. Turning to Goji Yakura, he said. Hey, kid, you're starting to get confused again. Which one is in control now? How many times do you need to say it before you understand? Now, you are our captive. Quote. Prisoner, do you understand? As he spoke, he stroked the green hair on the head of the wolfberry Yakura. It's like petting a cat. Yakura shook his head in annoyance. Glaring at the Uchiha stream. Imp, I, as the Mizukage, know exactly what you're here for. Just to get back the traitor. As for the previous battle, it was just a misunderstanding. So, as long as you stop now, there's room for maneuver. Quote. If you really treat me as a prisoner, aren't you afraid of starting a war? As soon as Kakashi Hachiki heard about the war, his face immediately turned ugly. This is a situation he definitely does not want to see. The Uchiha didn't care about it, and his attitude was still tough. Less careless. Listen, little ghost. Quote. Now, as a captive, you have only two options. Quote. First, we're bringing you back to Konoha as trophies. Quote. When the time comes, the high level of Konoha will negotiate with Yuuin to see whether to cut the land or pay compensation, and redeem you, Lord Mizukage. Quote. Oh yes, you're not just the Mizukage, you're also the three-tailed pillar force. Quote. With the addition of Miao, it is estimated that the ransom will have to be doubled. Quote. Ding. Goji Yakura has a strong anger, emotion, reward, water escape water mirror technique. What are you talking about? Goji Yakura's face turned red suddenly. It was only then that he finally understood. I just escaped from the tiger's mouth and fell into the wolf's den again. That fool named Uchiha Obito is just secretly manipulating him. This crazy little ghost in front of him is planning to kill him. If he was really captured back to Konoha, he would be completely famous. The Warring States period has been over for so long, and there are many shadows of various villages in the past dynasties combined. There are not a few who died on the battlefield, but there was never a single one who was captured. Even, it will be used as a bargaining chip to threaten the fog-hidden village. As soon as I thought of this possibility, Goji Yakura felt a sense of grief and indignation. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.